Today you see two dresses and they are the styles I feel the most confident in. I've chosen amazing prints, fitted dresses with sleeves, different neckline options and sleeve options, scoop and V necklines and it's a really easy sew that fits amazingly. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I'm excited to share two new dresses. It's a type of garment that is super wearable, easy to style. You don't have to really think much about it. You just put a dress on, maybe a layer on top, and you're set to go. Super easy. And what's better than sewing dresses that are easy to sew and that fit really well? And what I'm talking about is the Own Your Magic dress from Pattern Emporium. It is a brand new pattern. In this opportunity, there is a double release. So along with the Own Your Magic dress, there is a fitted tee called Bound to Be. I'm really hoping I have the time to make it. If I do have the time to make it, I will share it in a separate video. I actually have two fabrics in mind here that would be amazing. This video is going to be all about the dress. The Own Your Magic dress is made for knit fabrics. It's got different neckline options. You have a rounded neckline option or a V neckline. For both of these, you have higher and lower options. So you can choose how much coverage you want here of your upper chest. I've chosen in this time the scoop, which is the lowest, and then the V, also the lowest version. And when you see these on, you're gonna see they're not really low. I'm not showing any cleavage, which is something I never, ever wanna show. Not even when I'm wearing a swimsuit for my whole life. I've never been the one where you can see like this part of areas and roundness. I'm just not going to be comfortable like that. Even if I do sometimes sew a lower version, they're still not that low. They're not plunging, which is great. Now for the scoop, for the rounded necklines, you can sew a wide binding technique, which has all the hearts and all the love from me because it's amazing. It's a common feature you'll see in a lot of Pattern Emporium patterns. It looks amazing, looks super professional, and it gives you a really sturdy, stable neckline. Not going to end up stretching out. I have a separate video all about the wide binding technique, standalone video that I will link for you so you can see how to sew that. For the V neckline, it's different. You're not going to do the wide binding, you're going to do a neckband, but it's a very easy type of neckband that crosses over. I have filmed it for you. And then other options are for winter, you have a turtleneck. So lots of options for you, depends on the fabric you choose. This could be for all weather. Also, because of the sleeves, you can sew a short one, which I've done, 3/4, long, lots of sleeves, lots of lengths for you to choose from. I've chosen short sleeves for both of my versions because, to be honest, the few dresses I have sewn with long sleeves, I have ended up cutting them short or taking them out because it's just hot here. It's just not that cold. So I've sort of decided from now on, I'm just going to make short sleeves or sleeveless when I make dresses because I usually like to layer underneath and I'm rarely going to want to layer something on top of a long sleeve. But that's just me. You know, you sew the long sleeves if you want, if that's going to serve you. Awesome. That's why we have options in the pattern. It's a beautifully fitted dress. I love these dresses. They're the ones I feel the most confident in. They're also the ones that make me happy because you don't use up a lot of fabric, which is always a plus. And at the back, we have this fabulous horizontal seam at the small of your back, exactly at your waist height, that is shaped. So at the back, you have a back bodice and a back skirt, that horizontal seam. On the front, you just have a front piece. And then going down, it's fitted. You have slits on the side and you can have various lengths here above the knee, midi and long. Maybe if you have the option of trying out some styles to see a general idea of how that looks and how that feels on you, going to the shops is not a bad idea. You know, you're never forced to buy anything. You can try things on and then say thanks, bye. And I did try on a fitted dress once with slits and that was long and it was just not for me. Look, I've crept back into long skirts about a year ago and up to now I'm happy with skirts. I'm happy with long skirts, but to have the same fabric all along my body, I'm not ready for that yet. So I'm keeping mine above the knee there. So this pattern release is not only the Own Your Magic dress, it's also the Bound to Be tee. Those are the brand new patterns. They are 20% off, but it's also combined with a Mother's Day sale that is going to finish on Tuesday the 14th of May at 5 p.m. but over in Australia that'll probably be around dawn on Tuesday over in this part of the world. Remember, Australia is ahead of us. You know, it's not that they're in the future, but the time difference, you know. All women's patterns are included, 20% off, except for the latest two releases, which was the long weekend dress and the Rise and Shine top. Those two patterns are the latest. They're not included in the sale. But all the rest of the women's patterns are included in the 20% off sale, plus these brand new patterns.
In this video, I'm only discussing the Own Your Magic dress.
I'll leave you my affiliate link in the description box and pinned in the comments so it's easy to find, as well as my ever-growing playlist using Pattern Emporium patterns. All of the content I make is really practical. It has a lot of useful visuals for you to see how to put these together, and I've always had such a great experience. I have no doubts in my mind about recommending. Highly recommend. And if you end up clicking through my link and purchasing, you don't pay anything extra. I just get a small commission back. It's one of the ways I make an income here on YouTube, where you can just watch all this content for free, right? So if you do use my link, I'm always super grateful. Thanks in advance. Fabrics, knit fabrics, do not attempt to make this in a fabric that doesn't stretch. That's not a knit because it's not going to fit. This is a fitted design. We're going to see later in the fitting section that there is negative ease, which means the dress is slightly smaller than your body. That's why you need your fabrics to stretch at least 30%, vertically at least 20%. So it's not like you need a whole lot of stretch, but you do need that stretch there. The fabrics that are going to work and not deform are the ones that have at least 5% spandex in there. Fabrics that could work, but I would wear a slip underneath and they might end up looser and longer than what you expect, are the rayon, bamboo, modal spandex type fabrics. ITY could work. I would also wear a slip underneath, but it wouldn't be good to do the wide binding. It's just too flimsy for that. I think it would be okay for the V-neck band though, if you want to do that. Or maybe you could use another type of fabric for your wide binding if you're using ITY. I have tested that once on a non-wearable garment way in the past and it turned out awful, so believe me. Other fabrics that would work great for winter, stretch velvet. That tends to be a fabric that's, you know, a little warmer. Maybe a super nice sweater knit would be great for winter. In my case, both of my dresses are athletic knits. They're technical fabrics made out of polyamide and spandex. Both of them have the same composition. I bought them in the same online shop over here in Brazil. 84% polyamide, 16% spandex. So they have quite a lot of recovery. They're medium to heavy. I would say they weigh about 10 ounces. So they're not the lightest fabrics, they're not the heaviest, but they're nice and soft and they're just great. I love these fabrics for these style of dresses. They just hold up their structure and they feel amazing on. The sizing goes from 4 to 30, but this is Australian sizing. It's very different to US sizing, very similar to UK sizing. So don't get hung up on the numbers, on what number you appear there on the size chart. You know, it doesn't matter, just look at the measurements. The measurements here for each size have a range, so from here to there. So if you fall within that range, it's going to be okay. But it also means that the fit is going to be slightly different as well. At the bust, you could end up with 1 inch of negative ease or 1 inch of positive ease. It just depends on where your measurement falls in that range. In summary, it's a fitted dress. That's why we have the stretch fabric. Going down to the waist, it's pretty much zero ease. It follows your shape perfectly. And then at the hips, it also depends on what your measurements are. Within the range, you could have anywhere from 1 inch to 3 inches of negative ease, which means the garment is smaller than you. So it's going to be nicely fitted. I love these types of dresses. If you want your dress not to be so fitted at the hips, just blend on the side to the next size and you'll be absolutely fine. No fitting adjustments, absolutely none. I just cut it, I made it, bam. The first dress turned out a little shorter. I think I didn't measure correctly. I'm sewing the above the knee length. I should have added an extra inch there at the hem, so I corrected that with my second version. They're not mini dresses at all, they're fine. It's just the first one you'll see is slightly shorter. For sewing, I have filmed some general construction. These dresses are very easy to construct. You'll see I'm using my sewing machine because I like that with these types of fabrics. So if you want to use your serger, go ahead. I just don't do that. And I'm going to focus on showing you that overlap V neckline. Remember, I already have a video showing you how to do the wide binding if you want to do the rounded options. There's still nice and practical things to see today, so let's jump into the sewing. Here are the pattern pieces for my Own Your Magic dress from Pattern Emporium. There are many options for the neckline, but all the front pieces are cut on the fold. The difference is the shape of the neckline on the bodice. I have a low V neckline. It's going to end up a little raised because this band is going to be sewn in there. So it's not going to be as low as it looks like over here. There is a higher V option and then there's round neckline option. All the front pieces are going to be one piece on the fold. All the back pieces are going to be the same though. There is a horizontal seam across the height of your waist. I love that because you can see the shaping that you get there. That means that there's no extra bunching of fabric there at the small of your back. Love that. And I have a short sleeve option here. There are long sleeve options as well. I have already done a task that was very relaxing, not much brain effort at all, which was to serge all my edges. That is the choice for my athletic knit. These are medium weight fabric. And I would rather use the sewing machine to sew the seams and then press them open. That is optional. Of course, you can sew it with your serger, but I just serged everything, even the edges of the sleeves, even the bottom, the hem, everything. So all I have to do now is sew. The first step I'm going to do is attach these two pieces, and I'm going to be doing that directly on the serger. Very easy. The serger uses a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and that is what the pattern uses right here. So that's super easy to get done with. But at the sewing machine, I am going to use a jersey needle. I've taken out number 80, that's why it's not in this little packet. So I'll be using a narrow zigzag. Narrow zigzag means that it looks almost flat. So it's almost flat, and then the stitch length anywhere from 2.5 to 3. Then I'm going to align the shoulder seams right sides together, the completed back and the front piece. Get those sewn, and then I can start sewing the neckline. I'm doing the V neckline in this case. If you want the rounded options, you can do the wide binding technique that I already have a video on. For these main seams like shoulders and side seams, sleeve seams, I'm using my 1/4 inch press-a-foot, which is really helpful, and I can do the narrow zigzag in there, which is what I'm using to sew these seams. Shoulder seams are done. That means we can do the neckline. I've done a stay stitch at a 1/4 inch just around the V neckline shape. You can clearly see because my wrong side of the fabric is white. So I'm going to go ahead and snip right into that point there, not through it. This is going to allow this to extend. This is the neckband. It's going to have a mark at the center back, and what we're going to do is just fold it lengthwise, wrong sides together. I'm going to put a pin right here so that I can see because my marks are on the wrong side of the fabric. This is my center back, and then further down you're going to have these little marks that are going to be on your neckline as well. Everything has reference points to make this process easier for you, so you don't have to be dividing things into quarters, all of that yourself. You know, your reference points are already here. Okay, having this band with the fold down here and the raw edges up there, we're going to take it just like that. You can see the folded edges at the bottom, the raw edges are on the top of the screen, and we're going to overlap it like this so that we have raw edges there, raw edges there. And this is what is going to become our V neckband. To get this to stay put in its place, we're going to baste around here and around there, and these basting stitches can be removed afterwards. I'm going to do a basting stitch right across the middle here, and that's going to hold the layers together. What you saw here was me sewing right through the center. Long stitch. This can easily come off later. I've also stitched right here and right there. So it does look pretty hideous, but this can all come off after we've sewn this to the neckline. So don't worry about how this looks because it's just temporary. I want to keep all of these pieces together. There's 4 layers here all around this little square, and I want them to jiggle around. So this is going to act like one piece now. Just keeping this where it is there. These are the raw edges. I'm going to bring my neckline and place it on top. I like to sew this with the neckline on the top because I can see this little snip that I did and manipulate it. So I'm going to poke a pin right through the V right here, and it's going to come out on the other side. And to each side of where the pin came out, you should have a 1/4 inch because that's the seam allowance that we're using. So once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to pin this in place there, and then this area we extend like this, and I'm going to put a pin right here and then extend this other side and do the same. Now this snip that we did allows us to extend this, otherwise it would not be possible. So I'm going to get this area sewn probably 5/8 of an inch there, very careful pivot, 5/8 there, and then the V is done. And then I can sew the rest of the neckband. The rest is super easy. When I'm doing this, I pretty much hand crank this whole area to make sure the needle's landing exactly where I want it to go. and I'm using a straight stitch with a regular stitch length. The stay stitching that I have here, I'm going to be sewing right on top of it actually. It's a good reference to follow. That is my pivot point. I'm going to take away this pin and then shuffle the fabric all towards this other side. And now the next one is also hand cranking. Make sure I don't get a pucker right here. Okay, this looks like a little bit of a mess. Here is the band, it's right here in the middle. Here are the shoulder seams right here. And everything's extended. The side seams are free, so you can extend this. That's why you want to leave the side seams for later. Get this done first. This is a V section that's just been sewn, and I'm working from the right side of the fabric now because I want to be stretching this band to fit the neckline. So here is a pin that has a mark, and then further down from the shoulder seam, going down the V neckline, we have a mark there that we're going to match. And then here is the center back with this pin. It's going to match the center back of the neckline over here. And the same on the other side. So you can see in this section, the band is shorter, and as I serge, I'm going to be stretching this to match right there. And from this area down to the V as well, like that. And it's all going to be done in the serger. I am going to start from this side and go around and finish with the V. And I'm trying not to trim seam allowance away because the seam allowance is 1/4 inch. And as I stretch, I want to make sure the 3 raw edges, because the 3 layers always stay together. So my band is stretched to match the neckline underneath as I serge. Here was the first pin. I'm going to take that out. And now here is my next one. So I'm always making sure that the amount I'm stretching is equal. Shoulder seams, I'm going to make sure they stay open because that's how I'm sewing mine. If you've serged them together, just make sure they go towards the back. Now I'm going down towards the other side of the... You can sew the band with the serger, but I think this little section should be done with the sewing machine to be able to pivot and do everything neatly. Otherwise, with the serger, you cannot get that sharp V point there. So over here, I have this leftover serger thread with my seam ripper. I'm just going to pick it apart so that I just end up with the threads like this, and then I can do a knot, and that's going to finish it off, and it's not going to start unraveling. Now when you look at it just like this, it looks super messy, but we still need to press it. All that waviness is going to go away once we throw a lot of steam on it. And now it's time to remove these ugly stitches I'd done previously just to hold this in place. So they're going to come flying off. They were done with a 5/0 stitch length, so there's nothing that's going to keep them there. Now all that I have to do is side seams, set in my sleeve, hem. What comes next is super easy. This is my first dress. It's a tropical print, but it's pretty subdued. It's got grey, green, petroleum type teal colors. I'm not exactly sure, some white in there. And look at these rounded features here. I was so concerned that one of these was going to end up on my bust, and I placed my pattern piece in so many ways to make sure that didn't happen. I was content with these rounded things ending up on my upper chest, like around this area. I did something with my pattern piece that I've done before many times when I'm worried about the print. I figure out where my bust is going to be on the pattern. On the pattern piece, you have even a line that says bust adjustment line, so I knew that that was where the bust was on the pattern. I just cut out a generous circle and put it there on my fabric to make sure that none of these rounded things ended up exactly on my bust, although they are around this area. They're not exactly, you know, that would have been terrible. Put a picture here of what I mean. I've been doing this for years. Whenever I have a print like this, it's very practical because that hole actually lets you see and place your pattern piece on the print where it's not going to be so controversial. Here is my short sleeve. I'm super happy with this short sleeve because it's nice and short and it's not super tight. I do have ease around here. That's very important for me because I never want a tight sleeve. It's just uncomfortable. Although I'm quite happy to have a fitted hip or a fitted bust, whatever. I have a thing about sleeves, so I'm very happy with this one. It's a short sleeve option. And here's my deep V with the neckband. It's the type of neckband that overlaps here, which makes it super easy to sew and super neat. It went in with no problem. I did not top stitch it down. I gave it a lot of steam and it lies super flat and super neat. I will avoid top stitching a neckband to no ends if it's possible. If it's gonna lie flat and nice, I think you can ruin the look with the top stitching. I think some fabrics do need it though, and I was willing to do it if this wasn't lying flat and if the iron was not doing the trick, but it's fine. I did not top stitch it. At the back you can barely see that seam. It's pretty much invisible with the print there, but it does improve the fitting so much. And this follows my shape beautifully. Look, goes in at the waist, comes out at the hips. It just follows my shape exactly. Here are my little slits on the side. If you're doing longer versions, then the slits are going to be longer, but on the side they don't go up too high on the leg, so that's fine. Here you can see I've pressed my shoulder seams open. The sleeves are sewn directly on the serger though. I didn't use the sewing machine for that. And there you can see that horizontal seam from the back borders to the skirt. Amazing, love that it's there. I've styled it on its own because so you could see the dress, and then with two toppers, so let's see. This is my first Own Your Magic dress. This is an athletic knit with a tropical print that you'll see up closer a little bit better. I've got the above the knee length. This is a size 16, no changes to the pattern. I love the fitted silhouette, follows my shape exactly. At the back we have a horizontal seam at the small of the back, and so the fit is really smooth there. I don't get any extra munchy of fabric there, and I love that. I've chosen the deep V option. There is a higher V and there's also rounded neckline options, lots for you to choose from. And I have short sleeves, but there's also long sleeves. The V neckline is super easy to sew. It's a band that crosses over each other, so it's a little bit easier than the traditional one. And I've shown you how to sew that here. Love the fit of the long sleeves. They're not super tight. I feel like there's enough ease in there. And I'm very happy with this one. I've just got it by itself here with shoes and a bag, but you'll see it with some layers next. This is a ready-to-wear linen jacket that I found this summer in the correct color that I've been looking for, and I haven't found the right fabric to make one. And it goes perfectly, matching the shoes. I really like the length of a jacket that hits the mid-hip for a fitted dress like this. I wouldn't want to wear a crop jacket with a fitted dress. I think it always has to be a little bit longer and a little bit looser. This is a great autumn or spring outfit for me, and I'm very happy with how the dress looks with this jacket. And this is a more casual look. I've got some grey sneakers that are super comfy to walk in. There is a little bit of grey in this print. I think the neutral tones go together really well. And on top I have a denim jacket, which is a must-have. I think most of us have denim jackets. They're so versatile. They can go over anything and match anything. Particularly in this case, I love how these tones of blues and greys and petroleum colors combine, and I'm very happy. When I turned, you could see the side slits that I had mentioned before. Mine are shorter because my dress is shorter, but if you saw the longer length versions, then you're gonna have a longer side split that will allow you to walk. Love the casual look. As usual, you can do so many things with your clothes. I like having them be versatile for casual and a little bit more dressed up, so this was easy to do. This is my second version. I'm so happy I made up this fabric. I bought this one during the pandemic in 2020. This was always going to be a style of dress like this. It's got a red background with blue. Now I also didn't want one of these blue sections to end up on my bust, so I did the same thing of cutting out the circle from the pattern piece and being very careful where that was going to land there on the front. This is the lower scoop neckline. It's not low, I'm not showing anything. And for the white binding, I didn't top stitch it there, I stitched in the ditch. And it looks invisible. It's so neat. It's my favorite finish because it just looks so amazingly neat. There's a short sleeve right there. All the rest is the same. Only this one's an inch longer than the first one because I figured out I wanted it a bit longer. And little slit right there, nothing changed, and I'm very happy. Now I've also styled this 3 ways by itself and with 2 toppers. One casual and one more dramatic one that I was so excited to put together with something. You'll see. This is my second Own Your Magic dress. It's the same size, everything's the same as the previous one. An inch longer though. I thought the other one was a tad short. This is also an athletic knit. Up closer you'll see that I have a different neckline, but the fit and everything else is basically the same thing. Really nice fitted dress with a side slit. At the back there's that horizontal seam that the print doesn't really allow you to see that much, but it gives you such a good fit. In this case I have the low scoop neckline with the wide binding technique. That is super nice. I really love it. And even though it's a lower neckline, I'm still quite safe and not showing any cleavage, which makes me happy because I will never show cleavage. There is the finish of the wide binding. I stitched in the ditch there, so the finish is super clean. I love how that looks. Nice and sturdy, and It's just such a great technique. The colors, blue and red, they're just everything. And I've been hoarding this fabric for about 4 years. I'm so happy it's finally a garment that I can enjoy. And let's see it with some layers. I brought out my denim jacket again in navy. It goes with everything. I love those navy sneakers. They're so pretty and they're so comfortable to wear. The denim pairs beautifully over this colorful dress. I really love it. On screen, the red doesn't look as bright as it does in person for some reason, but it is a pretty bright red, similar to the handbag. I guess it's just the way the fabric shines with the light. It is an athletic knit, pretty structured, and it was very easy to work with. It was a great experience making this one. Having a casual outfit with a dress is everything for me because I love wearing skirts and dresses. I'm that type of person. And now this is something I wanted to put together ever since I chose the fabric for this dress, and I've brought out my eyelet trench coat, which I made months ago, and I still haven't been able to wear because it's still very hot, and the tone of red in the dress looks beautiful. I've got blue booties there. This would be a sort of autumn winter look for me. I know for my weather it's just what I need. I don't need anything extra, and I love it. You know, this trench is going to go a long way over a lot of things. But how amazing does the dress look under there with the colors? It's just great. I love it. And yeah, it was just a blast to get out my trench coat and put it on. Even if it's just for this styling clip, it made me super happy. Can't wait till it gets cold and I can wear this outfit. Just like, how amazing was it for me to grab my eyelet trench coat and put it on? I've been just waiting and waiting and waiting for the weather to cool down, because that's going to be a winter garment for me. It's just not cold yet, and I haven't been able to justify using it yet because it's still super hot. It's like in the high 90s Fahrenheit, which is really hot for autumn, and yeah, it's still this type of weather, you know. So happy to put that together. The colors in the dress under the trench coat go perfectly. My little blue booties, that is 100% an outfit I'm gonna wear to church one day and feel amazing. I'll probably get some stares, but yeah, who cares? I'm happy and I feel amazing in that look. Same as the more casual way with the denim jackets and things. I like doing that as well. I think you can have a lot of fun with styling, and I don't think you should limit your garments to be either dressy or casual. I think anything can be anything, just depends on what you do, and I love them. These two are a delight to sew. If I had to count how long it took me to make these, I'd probably say under 2 hours each, including the cutting and the filming and the hand basting. So you can be done in no time. You can start at lunch and then go to dinner with a new dress. It's that type of make, and I'm so happy with them. Remember that this new dress, Own Your Magic, and the t-shirt, Bound to Be, are the 2 new releases. They are 20% off. But also all the women's patterns are 20% off because of Mother's Day sale that ends on Tuesday at dawn-ish, 5 p.m. in Australia on Tuesday the 14th. Making these was a delight. I really enjoy the easy projects as well as the hard ones. I think a mix of both keeps me both interested, satisfied, and happy and relaxed and all the things. So I'm very content. That's all from me. I'll see you again on this channel with more sewing very soon. Bye.